welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
Today, to kick off a very nostalgic month for us, we are talking about Sleepless in Seattle. Yay! So, as people of an age, Meg and Tom were like the original, like, rom-com super couple. I don't even know. Like, they didn't actually even do that many movies together, but the ones they did were pretty iconic, and so they get a whole month.
Yep.
Even though this is a vaguely Christmassy movie.
Yep, and so is the next one. But I don't care.
No.
Yeah.
Is it Christmassy?
The next one, there's a Christmas scene. It's enough for us to make it a Christmas movie at our house.
Okay.
So, yeah.
They're both anytime movies.
They're both, the You've Got Mail is a fall movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, doesn't matter.
Anyways,
watch them all the time. Anytime and all the time.
Yep. So, Sleepless in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle is just... It was a classic before it even came out. Like, it was written and created to, like, be a classic.
Yeah.
It came out in 1993, and Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan's characters have approximately 4% of the movie in the same scene.
Yep.
And yet, it's great. I mean, it's also problematic, but it's great.
Yes, we'll get there. But fun fact, Tom Hanks recorded his lines for Woody on his days off, because that's how far in advance they had to do the lines for first Toy Story, because computers looked like this.
Indeed, but also first Toy Story was 1995.
I know.
Which, like, you always forget that it was that long ago.
That long ago, which is why everyone was, like, losing their minds when it came out, aside from it being a good movie.
But yeah, so, like, this, like, they seem like they're in completely different, like, filmmaking eras.
Yeah.
Which I guess, like, they are, but this is, like, the tail end of, like, the 80s, basically. Like, I don't know, I always associate this movie as being very 80s-ish, even though it's 93, but...
Yeah, I think it's just, like, the styles. There's Rosie and the Veronica Victoria, where their clothing is...
it's really the fashion, because it's, like, slightly older people, like, not teenagers in the early 90s, so then they're still wearing, like, 80s-ish clothes. Yeah. And like, aside from Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, this cast is stacked. Like, there's so many good people. Victor Garber is outstanding in this movie. God. I mean, as in everything. Rita Wilson, obviously, amazing.
David Pierce, David Pierce, straight man.
Yeah. Frances Conroy, I just love to see her in everything.
I know.
Bill Pullman is outstanding.
The best.
Even, like, the actor who plays the kid is, like, really good.
Gabby Hoffman.
Yeah, Gabby Hoffman. Oh my gosh.
And then Rosie, like, pulling it out. Just being exactly what you need from a best friend in this kind of movie.
Yeah, basically, like, playing...
wacky main woman.
Yeah, but, like, not too wacky.
Yeah. And Rob Reiner. Being the best. Just there.
Anyways, great. So great. So yeah, this is our first Nora Ephron. Definitely not the last.
Nope.
It's so good. Good. Oh, man. Okay. We're gonna gush about this movie a lot, and, like, we know that it's problematic
for
many reasons, but we'll get there. Don't worry.
So we said David Hyde Pierce. I'm watching a lot of Frasier right now. So Dr. Marcia Fieldstone definitely hit a chord for me, especially because she says I'm listening, which is hilarious. And then Frasier starts, like, the same year, so it's kind of ridiculous, especially when he maligns Seattle and it's rain.
Yeah.
So there was this really, like, angry stat in IMDb about how it doesn't rain 9 months. It's cloudy for 9 months. And I was like, okay, as a person who lives in the same rainforest as Seattle, I'm like, I support the 9 months.
I mean, every month of the year almost always has multiple days of rain.
Broad a statement.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you count it? But, like, yes, 9 months out of the year are quite rainy, but that doesn't mean it rains every day, like the equivalent of 9 months of days of rain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't dispute it. Like, it rains a lot. Just get over it.
Here. Yeah.
It's why we have lots of green trees and beautiful mountains.
Yeah. This boathouse is amazing.
Ugh, amazing.
And once it was for sale, and I was like, maybe I could find enough friends and we could buy it.
Yeah, I know. Boathouses, they seem cool, but they also seem really stressful.
This is a memory that scarred me for life, is that once a bad guy in MacGyver unplugged his boathouse and he floated away while he was asleep. And so now I was like, now, the rest of my life, I'm like, nope, no boathouses. What if a bad guy unplugs it? I think I didn't understand how it worked. And that you could just unplug it, I guess, would be the same as untying it. But, he didn't have a motor. He had to MacGyver his way out. Anyway.
Right.
It's very
stressful. I think
stressful.
the actual boathouses that people live in, because they have some here too that I've never really been on, but they're like, they're hooked up to like electrical, like they're not just tied up to the dock with a rope. They have like electrical connections and like water and sewage connections and all that. So
yeah, and I've seen actually some be moved, which is really fun because it was a tug going up the thing, and the guy was just on his deck having a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
while he was
so cute
being tugged, and I was like, that is a life. If that was my life, I could have a boathouse maybe.
Yeah. No, see, Lindsay has like childhood fears of boathouses, but I have like adult fears of boathouses of like they leak or the sewage system breaks and it's very expensive to fix.
Well, Tom Hanks is a handsome architect in this movie, so you know that it's fine.
I know. And the house is really great. Ugh.
Yeah. Cupboards
So
are really
beautiful.
great, ironically, after the entire thing with the kitchen cupboards.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah. Okay, so there's this line about being, was it more likely to be killed by a terrorist than by a, how do they phrase it?
Find a husband after the age of 40.
Oh, yeah. More likely to be killed by a terrorist than to find a husband after the age of 40. And it's like, maybe, but who knows? Yeah, like, where did that line come from? Lindsay tried to do some research. Did you find anything useful?
So it was a Newsweek article, which I tried to click on the article link, and it was I got a security warning on my computer, so I probably won't be sharing that one to you guys. But I found an NPR, which I didn't listen to because I just looked now, that was 20 years later and said that most women involved in the study are now married. I don't know how old they were in the 86. This is from 2006. And that other study findings were proven untrue. So this is like literally just a paragraph blurb to go with the NPR thing. Yeah. The study indicated that college-educated women over the age of 40 had less than a 3% chance of getting married. I don't know what the terrorist line is, but we all know it hits more close to home when they bring it up. Again, when that being killed by a terrorist part is slightly more on our minds. Yay, the odds!
Indeed. But also, I think there's like a lot of like almost the opposite of confirmation bias in that, because like how many women who are college educated and over the age of 40 and aren't yet married also want to be married.
Exactly.
As,
totally. And
somebody to whom that applies. Like,
also, how many of those women, it was 1986, how many of those women were gay or queer, bi, anything, but also didn't say anything because it was 1986.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I don't need to get married. I have a roommate.
Yeah. A roommate. Or also just like, I don't need to get married because husbands.
Also that,
So anyways, maybe we'll do more research when we do the holiday and see if we can find any more information.
Meg Ryan isn't over 40 in this. I know it's not about her, but it's also just like a weird, I know they're talking about the radio, people calling on the radio. But like, it's the guys who mention that line, and then later Victor Garber brings it up, but the guys in the newspapers store, office bring it up, and like every single person we've seen, so it was Meg Ryan, it was the two women in the cafe, like none of them were over 40 and they were all obsessed with him, so that actually has nothing to do with
any of them,
what was happening either. The guys just assumed it because they were douchey guys in the 90s. Yeah,
and it's like men making fun of like so-called desperate women who are like out there looking for husbands, but it's like, well, yeah, like if you watched your mom like not be able to get a credit card because she wasn't married, like you would be desperate to get a husband too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, the patriarchy. Yeah. Should we talk about some of the like period parts of this? Not like menstruation, but like a movie from the early 90s is
Early
now
90s?
a period piece because there's lots of sort of dated things. So.
Yeah, I think the first one that sticks out to me is and then you get to do it with the condom line, just because, like, downgrading, like, condoms are horrible, everything's horrible, but that's just how, because the first part of that line is then you get tests, and then you go get
like, STD tests, and then...
Isn't it horrible that you have to go through all of these steps before you can have sex? And I'm like, it's 1993, do you know how many people are dead right now? It's not that funny.
Yeah, exactly, like, and also, like... So before you knew about HIV/AIDS, you would have just had sex with a random woman that you were on a date with, and like
I know that's
dealt
what
with it if she got pregnant. Like, yeah, gross. Yeah, and then like casually throwing around like words, like the kid who's like 8 calls the woman that his dad goes on a date with a hoe repeatedly, and then other people call her a hoe.
They were kissing.
Yeah, and then like, oh, this stranger you're going to meet, like, could be something like a transvestite. And, like, first of all, the term transvestite is terrible. Yeah. But like, is kind of period appropriate. Like, it was used more broadly then. But also, like, so?
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh no. Like, they're... and, like, lumped in with other things that are actually terrible. Like,
like
serial killer.
And yeah, like, there's... Yeah, it's bad if they're transvestite. When it's this person that you... are interested in hearing on the radio and you're engaged, like,
yes, exactly.
Oh, this person isn't maybe not available to you because they are this thing. Oh no,
like, oh no, but then also like other things, like you can drop somebody off right at the gate at the airport.
So weird.
And your kid runs away to the other side of the country and you just follow them rather than, like calling the police or something.
There was
like,
a whole thing
otherwise
in
freaking out.
Trivia about that too. Like, there was enough time. Like, it was 7:00 when they found out that he was getting on the 7:30. So they, as travel
they could have called the airport.
Could have called the airport, and it would have been fine. I know this is a plot device, but
where were they were living before? Like, where were the aunt and uncle living? Like Rita Wilson and Victor Garber. Like, they could have gotten to New York faster than from Seattle.
Yeah, I think they were in Chicago or near Chicago.
Mm-hmm. So
that was also weird because they were seeing them near Valentine's Day, and it was like they hadn't talked because they didn't know about that he called the radio on Christmas, which seems strange.
It was strange,
but
who knows?
Whatever.
I don't know. Also, like all these computers that had access to the internet, like different databases for the reporters and for the booking the flights, but also like no graphical interface. So it was like this really narrow type of like. You have internet at home, but like black, like text only interfaces.
Yeah, when she does all that searching and then brings up the fax interface, it's really jarring.
Yeah.
It's black and orange, and also all typing, like no mouse whatsoever. She's like highlighting something with her spacebar, and then she has a fax interface which is white again, and you're just like, oh, whoa, that's jarring. And also, whoa, why does this fax interface look like emails from my best friend's wedding?
Yeah, but I guess that probably was a thing of like being able to, like, a fancy, like at your fancy newspaper or computer, you can send a fax from your computer. Amazing.
Wow.
And now we have to like put fancy apps back on our computers to be able to send and receive faxes. So 90s. Yeah,
here's a random note that's for you and everybody. Black widows are not poisonous or insects.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, I'll forgive that spiders. Because it was the kid.
No, he said black widow. Tom Hanks said, "Excuse me, father, there's a poisonous insect in the house."
Oh.
Yep. When he was telling him how to react appropriately.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yes. But the kid freaking out. Well, I guess like black widows are still scary, and they are venomous, not poisonous. Unless you eat a black widow.
I would be concerned that there was one in my house because I was also 8, 9 in 1993, and black widows were a scary deal. It was like Black Widows and Bloody Mary. They were the things that could get you.
Oh man, like how many times did I watch Arachnophobia? So many. Yep. Okay. There's some other like really great scenes that don't have anything to do with the plot of the movie. Also, like we've barely talked about the actual plot of the movie because
but you know it.
The plot's not the point. But yeah, the scene where they're talking about like the Meet Me at the Empire State Building and the what's the other movie?
Affair to Remember.
Yeah, so they're talking about Affair to Remember, and Rita Wilson's crying, and then Victor Garber and Tom Hanks, like, apparently it's a totally improv scene.
A totally improvised scene.
Oh, and it's so good.
Which is a whole other thing of, like, how? How did they get through that? How did anybody get through that? Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, because they're just really good.
They are really
good. So they're talking about the Dirty Dozen, and like, other than, like, the fact of, like, making fun of men crying, like, it is really funny, and I feel like...
It's so funny.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, we could probably have a whole long argument about, like, like, I know that it's played for laughs, but, like, the reason that they're doing it is a similar thing of the reason that she was doing it. They were just talking about a movie that made them emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And it was funny. But...
Yeah, and I think it's also, like, that she's taking this movie so seriously, even though it's just a movie, and then, like, the making fun of men for crying kind of, like, gets rolled into that. But it's not, an essential part of the comedy.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Rita Wilson, of course, just...
Yeah.
Amazing.
Rita Wilson, so great. And I love, too, that, like, it's the Rita Wilson character that when Annie comes to Seattle and, like, is stalking Tom Hanks' character, like, she sees him with his sister, who's Rita Wilson, who's Tom Hanks' wife. So cute. Yeah. Okay, and then... I don't know why the soundtrack isn't, like...
I know, like, I was thinking
so
about it. It's iconic to me.
But it is.
It's not, like, something people would list in best soundtracks or whatever, right?
Yeah, I guess
it's
so.
Not Dirty Dancing. But to me, it's just, oh my god, the feelings.
Yeah. So many feelings. Yeah. Yeah. And,
but it does make me think that our patrons maybe will make a special Christmas playlist for our patrons along to go with their normal playlist, because the horses version of Jingle Bells is a really big deal in our house because of this movie, but I'm not gonna torture you by putting a Christmas song on our playlist in September.
On our rom-com playlist. Yeah. No, good idea. Also, like, the whole being by yourself in a car on a road trip, like, singing along to the radio and like flicking along, I was like, oh, I feel so seen. Is me. Like, you're singing along and, like, you don't want to be, but you
talking
are.
Back. Yeah, and just, like, whatever is coming up, you and your spleen, and she's like, not on your life. I'm like, that's exactly how I interact with the radio also.
Indeed. Yeah, so great.
Yeah, and then I'll put it in the links. Hopefully I got it to work because I couldn't find a standalone link.
The link that you put in worked, yeah.
Okay, so for the second time in our podcast so far, there is an amazing scene in How I Met Your Mother, which is an incredibly problematic show that we're not getting into, but can be hilarious. And
in small doses, yeah.
Ted just built a giant Empire State Building and then is acting out the end of Sleepless in Seattle on top of it with little dolls.
Are you Annie? I mean, also, like, we may or may not have reenacted the end of Sleepless in Seattle at the top of the Empire State Building our first time in New York also.
I think it's, like, required.
Pretty sure. Yeah. It's like, were you born before 1987? Therefore you must. Yeah. Or, like, have you seen Sleepless in Seattle more than 5 times? Yeah. It is required of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Jonah, the little kid's, like, best friend / enabler of him running away, likes to use lots of abbreviations and then uses MFEO.
I know, which is why I use MFEO, ironically.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's, like, everywhere now. Like, made for each other, meant for each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, I feel like I've used it so much that it lost the context of where it originally came from.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you don't know as a reference. Yeah. Kind of like Bye Felicia.
Yeah.
And probably many other things.
So many things, but yeah. Yeah, like, because it's been referenced by other things, and then you, like, are you referencing the original, or are you referencing the umpteen other things? Yeah. So that just gave me lots of feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
Should we summarize some tropes? Because there's a few.
There are. It's a weird one. There's not as many glaring ones, but I think it's earlier in, well, not early rom-coms, but it's earlier in the big deal.
Like mass market.
Mass market rom-coms. And I think probably launched lots of tropes that we have and will continue to talk about.
Indeed.
People trying to capture this magic.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like the big picture one of like the main storyline of the two leads is like the love at first sight / like soulmates / MFEO kind of thing of like, yeah, they just know that they're right for each other. Mm-hmm. She says dubiously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good though. I don't know. They sell it.
I know they do. So at the beginning, we have weird, not really bad, but inciting incident advice from her mom while they're trying on wedding dresses in the attic, which is exactly the same as Wedding Singer, which I found really hilarious.
Well, definitely the Wedding Singer stole it from this.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those things of like, wow, this is exactly the same. And it's the inciting incident for her realizing that she's missing something with Walter.
Yeah, and like I don't think it's bad advice from her parent. It's more that her parent just assumes that of course you feel this like magical spark. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Attractive widow with kids. Yeah, or widower. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very Nora Ephron trope, but I'm sure we'll see it elsewhere. Yeah.
So this quote, I think, helps me with some of my feelings that we'll talk about more, but love makes you crazy is definitely a trope that we'll find that in movies that you think are amazing and then you watch again and are like, this might be problematic.
Like, where did your rational brain go?
Yeah. So Nora Ephron said, our dream was to make a movie about how movies screw up your brain about love, and then if we did a good job, we would become one of the movies that would screw up people's brains about love forever.
Yeah. Yes, this is what I mean about like it was trying to be a classic even before it came out. Mm-hmm. Like, and they obviously lucked out with casting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like this movie is constantly listed as top whatever romantic movies of all time. I think it's one of my favorite romantic movies of all time, but it's a movie about a stalker.
Yeah, and like they literally talk to each other for like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's generous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then I guess this one kind of flips a trope, which I don't think we've really talked about a lot, but it's like the bad ex or current partner trope, which like we definitely had in like Wedding Singer and basically everything else that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But in this one, Walter, Bill Pullman's character, is actually like fine / great. They just don't have whatever that like connection that I guess they're maybe like she's looking for and he just doesn't care about, because like when she breaks it off with him, he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like he's totally fine. So it's like he just wanted to be married and she wants like the epic love.
Yeah, and I think like he wanted to be married not in like a gross way.
No, he just like he's like, oh, I found a person that I get along with great, and I think we'd have a nice life together. Yeah. And like that's enough for him, and I think that's enough for a lot of people. And for her, she's like has this yearning for something more.
Yeah, big sweeping romance. I think we'll see that more in the yearning for more. I don't know if it's like we'll see if how those boyfriend fiancés are in those ones.
Yeah, that's true.
Go forward, but
because like
he's definitely a pretty good dude.
Yeah, and like they had a lot in common. Like they were, getting to know each other's families, and yeah. So he was a good guy. I hope he gets what he was looking for.
Me too. Oh yeah. So best friend is maybe her boss or her superior. Also,
or like her editor. Yeah.
Yeah, is her enabler. Like I don't know. We haven't gotten this far in the best friend trope division yet.
Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely some of these, maybe she's her enabler more because she is her boss, at least in this one, of just like, she's like, you should do this, and I did this for you, and now this is the thing. So yeah. Like they're
just
supportive,
like
and she is supportive, but she's also
enabling some sort of the stalkery behavior.
Yeah, it's interesting because Rosie doesn't like Walter. So she definitely, I don't know if that's her reason or if she doesn't really say why she does it.
Yeah, I think maybe because it would be a good story for the newspaper. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We never get into it because it's not her story, but
exactly.
It's interesting to
Yeah,
what is
and
her
it's
motivation?
weird to see like such an early Rosie O'Donnell before she was like Rosie O'Donnell. She was just like
Yeah.
a young actress.
actor.
Yeah, and then this one has the like rushing through taxi in a or like rushing through traffic in a taxi, like running to beat the clock / like get up the elevator before the thing closes, like that whole like last minute adventure. It's like they were at dinner for like hours. She couldn't have like rushed the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, I know. But also we went up the Empire State Building at 2 a.m.
Yeah, but that was like 20 years after this.
I know. So now I'm just like, when did it go 24 hours? Was it also when they put security in? Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I guess it's good that she was like, she had a thoughtful conversation with her partner about breaking it off. Like, it wasn't like, oh, sorry, I gotta go. Well, I gotta meet a 8-year-old about his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bechdel test?
Yeah. But they talk about An Affair to Remember as a movie. And they talk about commercials that make them cry, which is it is a trope about women, but it's not about men. So there's that.
Yeah. And also felt believable. I was like, oh man, there used to be this like Kodak film commercial where it was like the kid prints off the picture of her grandma at her age, like playing baseball, and like brings it to her grandma and like asks her to play catch in the backyard or something. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's not like a specific criteria of the Bechdel test, but like Annie as a character, like is a really memorable character that like seems to have like a life and a career and interests and desires like outside of just her romantic life. I mean, she's not really shown to have a lot of friends other than work friends, but it's a 90-minute movie. So
and I think like randomly the weird woman who's getting her house built feels like a really strong female character to me. I don't know why, but I really like
the
her.
person who's like, oh, but I need a fridge that will fit my platters, so therefore we have to redesign the whole kitchen. That lady. Yeah.
Like, she's cool. She knows what she wants. She might be disorganized, but I'm into it.
Yeah, and if she pays her bills, then who cares? Like,
exactly. Yeah,
it's her money.
So,
and I guess
I really like her.
Yeah, like Veronica,
Victoria, one of them. I don't know. She's got a crazy brooch. That's all I know.
And a really annoying laugh. But otherwise, she's treated pretty poorly by everybody.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything wrong. She's just a woman who likes a guy.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think if I was Tom Hanks, I wouldn't have introduced the first person I date to my kid after a day.
No.
Yeah. But, other than that, all good.
The babysitter?
Oh, yeah.
Now we're just listing women, but
Clarice.
She barely talks, but she's hilarious.
Yes, I like her pants. She has, like, cropped,
really
flared pants. They're very ridiculous.
I was thinking we need to start, like, a 6 degrees of something because all these people are in the same movies, but I don't know. We need to find a person to start with or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Oh, yeah. Good idea. Because, also, Lindsay and I entertained each other playing basically that, like, not necessarily 6 degrees, but, like, connecting this to that for days of our lives.
Yep.
Like, in total, over many years.
Yep.
We haven't done it for ages, but it's always fun.
I know, but it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to share your hot take?
Yes. Okay. So we've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure that anybody who watches it now with an open mind is similar, but I love this movie with my whole heart, and it's just very important to me and my family and Christmas and Tom and Meg and everything. This movie is about a stalker. He doesn't need a new wife. He needs a restraining order.
Yeah. And also, like, some grief therapy maybe for his kid.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And my hot take is basically the same. Like, if the genders were reversed, it would be so creepy and like a cautionary tale of like it would not be a lighthearted rom-com.
No.
But I love it so much.
I love it so much. But she flies across the country to his house
to stare
and
at him.
Follows him in her car with him and his young son and just stares at them.
Yes.
And then goes back the next day and does it again. Like,
yeah, it's not great.
And she hires a private detective.
Yes.
To take photos of him.
Yeah, and like some of that, not the like taking photos, but like the private detective, some of it could maybe be not forgiven, but like if she was just trying to get in touch with him to write the story, like
Well, and see, this is the thing of, like, we could all have this argument for years of, like, was she actually writing a story?
No, I don't think she actually wanted to write a story. That was just an
yeah.
excuse to get a, like, to be obsessed about him and the
Yeah.
whole situation.
The whole situation, and, like,
Yeah.
get their personal information and
Yeah,
use
use her work resources. Yeah.
to get a private detective to get a photo of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy. Okay.
It's really upsetting. But,
Yeah.
you know, next movie isn't that much better.
Nope.
But we love it anyway.
Problematic. Okay, let's build some pie.
Pie. Tom Swoon. He is so attractive in this movie.
And he's so charming. Ugh.
He's so charming.
Yeah. Like 20%?
I'm into it.
Because there's another category that also kind of overlaps with that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous allergies? Yeah. Like Walter is allergic to wheat, but also orders a sandwich on white bread. So it's like
on
you can
white
have
bread?
white bread, but not brown bread. I think he's got some made-up allergies. It's very 2006.
And yeah, and like he's just like you know, allergies are allergies, but and the humidifier. I know it was the 90s, so humidifiers were pretty ridiculous. But like he has like a Kleenex in front of his mouth to breathe. Like what is this?
Yeah, no, I think it's
like got consumption or something.
I think he's a bit of a hypochondriac as well as has some allergies that are real.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also there's Harold, who I don't know if you've heard is allergic to bees.
Right. Yes.
What about Harold and bees?
Harold Bees? Oh, yes, Harold and the Bees. I forgot about Harold and the Bees. Maybe like 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random map graphic. It is in so much of this movie.
I know. Like, and because the opening credits and the start of the closing credits as well are inspired by that map graphic, and you're like, you know what? How else? Like, was it just that they couldn't get any like airplane B-roll to show people flying across the country, so they had to use the map?
Guess so.
I don't know. I do like
I
the
don't
like
know.
sunrise moving across the continent kind of thing, but I don't like it after that, or like I don't need it after that.
No.
Yeah, like it's like 15% of this movie.
Yeah, and there's also like there's that, which is in so much of it, and then there's also like they just have a map in their house, which is fine, but they reference it a lot for a movie that I'm like, we are adults.
Yeah.
Even
and like
even then, I was like, I know how far away Seattle and Baltimore are. Like,
well, yeah, like maybe you don't know specifically like all the East Coast places, but it's like, okay, so like Baltimore's on the East Coast, so therefore it's far away from Seattle. New York is also on the East Coast, so therefore it's close to Baltimore and far away from Seattle.
Far away from Seattle, like the end, like
everything's far away from Seattle.
Yeah, except us.
Yeah, and then finally, being a movie that wins us over because of incredibly charismatic leads. 60%. Yes, that seems appropriate.
Yep. It does, because I love this movie. And I wrote so many notes about how she's a terrible stalker. Yeah. And in the last 5 minutes, I was like literally clutching a pillow, like, oh my God.
I know.
They're gonna hold hands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And yeah, like when you read the IMDb trivia about like all the different people that like almost got cast in this, you're like, oh man, like it would not.
Yeah.
It was just that like perfect chemistry between the two of them, and like the ability for you to believe a connection between the two of them, even though they're basically never in the same scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like having a kid that's a good enough actor and not like an annoying kid actor. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh, so crazy. Okay. What's next for these crazy kids?
So this is the problem, is the last 5 minutes are amazing, but then what happens?
Yeah.
How does isn't he going to be like, I saw you in the street. Why were you in Seattle?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like if she's really honest and upfront about everything and like, yeah, just like is honest about how she feels and about why she was there, maybe they have a chance. But like,
maybe
we don't really have enough information to know, and neither do they, because they don't know if they're like even gonna like each other.
I know. And also how like she works for the Baltimore newspaper.
Yeah, so like is he gonna rip up their life to move
their
to
lives
Baltimore?
Again? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, basically this movie is a very elaborate, very stalkery meet cute. And then like now so like now they're just gonna get to know each other, I guess. Who knows?
And like in New York, they don't have like Tom and the kid don't have a hotel.
Nope.
Like obviously they can get one. It's New York, but it is
I don't think they even have luggage.
No, Tom doesn't.
And the kid
has
had
a
a
backpack.
has like his little backpack and his teddy bear. So,
Yeah.
you know, they've got some
Yeah.
things to figure out, but like, yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have enough information to answer that question this week.
That is correct. I will say there is a line in this movie that is, "Didn't you see Fatal Attraction? It scared the shit out of me." And I'm like, okay, and now she's going to tell you that she flew across the country to stare at you? So,
Because she was like, felt a connection to your kid being on the radio? Yeah.
yeah.
Creepy. Oh boy. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, so-
but what's really next for them is that they get mail.
Yay! Yep. Yeah, so do you want to share what's up in our September theme?
Yeah, so in case you haven't figured it out already, our September theme is Tom and Meg. Mm-hmm. The best for the burgeoning fall. So we have our Patreon, which is coming out soon at Charts and Hearts Club. Will be Joe versus the Volcano, which will be an interesting experience because I haven't watched it in many, many years.
Many.
And then in 2 weeks, it's hard to say the best. I can't choose between these two. They're so
the other.
important in my life.
Yeah.
The other very, very good Meg and Tom movie, perfect for fall.
Yes.
You've Got Mail.
Yay. And
Also Nora Ephron.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this could be Nora Ephron month, it could be Tom and Meg month. It's just
Yep. It could be
feels-
Meg Ryan has amicable breakups with nice guys month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Anyways, yeah, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcast, like Apple or Spotify. You can also find us on social media. We are at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and Charts and Hearts on Twitter. And our website is chartsandhearts.com, or you can submit your suggestions for future rom-coms, tropes, and themes for us to add to the list.
Yeah, and as I said, you can join us over on Patreon at Charts and Hearts Club, at Patreon/Charts and Hearts Club. So we've got some great other episodes. Joe versus the Volcano is coming out soon, and as we mentioned earlier, we do have a fun Spotify playlist with songs from the soundtracks to all of our movies, because they've all been pretty iconic, except for Shakespeare in Love, which didn't have a song in it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And they're just going to get more iconic because there's some good song movies coming up.
Indeed. Oh, man. Yeah.
They also have the full schedule over there.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to get a sneak peek of what's coming up. So we got
some
good
ridiculousness.
stuff.
Oh, man.
Okay. And in the meantime, we don't have an outro yet. This is our outro.
And in the meantime, are you Annie?
No, I'm Cynthia.